right, our next segment here, we're going to talk about irons and iron play. And again, we're going to discuss some common faults that we see and also some fixes. And we're going to work on some, I'm going to give you some drills to work on to get good solid iron contact. Before we talk about that, just going to talk about the grip a little bit. One of the things, again, as in the other segment I see is you may have your bottom hand turned too much underneath here, your top hand turned too much over into this position, or it might be a little bit weaker and in this position here, what we call a weak position or an open face position, which gets your arms away from your body here a little bit too much. So something which is a good teaching aid that you can use at home is a ruler. You take your ruler, you turn it kind of sideways like this here, and you grip it in this position right here. That gets your hands in a real good position. And you can do that at home. You can do that for about 10 minutes a day. And then after you've done that, if you're watching your golf or you're watching anything else, then grab your golf club and work on getting the grip in that position again. And again, the fingers, we want to feel like we can hold the club in the fingers. We could do a half hour, 45 minutes on the grip. But holding it in the fingers, back of your top hand, facing towards the target. It's basically going to be parallel towards your target, and the palm of your right hand, the same thing, getting it into that position. So there's a little tip for you to work on with the ruler there. Now we're going to talk about some irons. Now, to be a good iron player, okay, we've got to get the club coming, and it's a descending strike coming into the ball. Okay, one of the biggest faults I see is people trying to help the golf ball up in the air and getting it and swinging back here and trying to add loft as we're coming in. So we're going to do a great drill on that in a second. We're going to talk first and foremost about ball position. So I've got an 8 iron and a 5 iron. So again, I talk upper body with regard to your ball position. So from your sand wedge, pitching wedge, 8 iron, maybe 7 iron, we want it more off your sternum here. Okay, could be the zipper on your sweater or your placket of your shirt. And it's okay if the ball position's a little bit more forward than that. Say about a ball, half a ball forward. Okay. Now as far as when you get into your 5 iron, 4 iron, some people have hybrids. I like it more off your left cheek, or for the left-handers, your right cheek. So all we need to do there is just kind of widen out your foot a little bit more, and that gets us in that position there. Okay. Now we talked about the low point of your swing with the driver, and the low point of your swing is where the club head's coming and it reaches its low point, and then it's going to start to rise. With your driver, ideally, it's a couple inches in behind the ball, and then the club is ascending or leveling as it's coming through. With the iron, it's a different low point. Your low point is essentially a couple inches out in front of the ball. Okay? So I just talked about, I'm going to use my 8 iron here. So we're going to set up. Again, when we come back, what I see a lot of times is people trying to help the ball up in the air, and they'll end up scooping it. Notice where my hand and the club head is in this position here. Okay? The club head is kind of passing my hands. Also, my chest is way behind the ball. So what's going to happen a lot of times is the club's going to bottom out well behind the golf ball. It's either going to dig in or it's going to rise. So if it digs in, you're going to hit a chunk shot. If it rises, you're going to hit it, top it, or you're going to skull it. What we have to do when we're hitting good iron shots and become good iron players is when you get set up, you're in a good balanced setup position, weights equally distributed, 50-50. You may have a little bit more weight on your front foot with an iron, that's fine. When you come into the impact position, what we need to do and need to feel is our head is behind the ball. We're getting what's called forward shaft lean. The shaft is in this position here where the hands are ahead of the ball, your chest here is in front of the ball, and that left butt cheek or your lead butt cheek is turned behind you. I focus on that lead butt cheek a lot in my teaching because that just gets the feel of those hips rotating through, if you can get to that position there. Another area to look on is when you're in this position here, your hands are over your lead foot. Okay, so being a right-handed golfer, it's over your left foot, and for a lefty, it's over your right foot into this position here. That is a good, strong impact position. Okay, essentially what you're doing is when you're coming down, I've got an 8-iron here. It's almost like I'm de-lofting the club and turning it into a 7-iron in this position here. Okay, so I'm just going to set up here, come back, and cold top it. There's a better one there. So my lead point out here is in front of the golf ball. Okay, so what I've done here is I've got a line, and you put the ball on the front portion of the line. All I've done is got some Scholl's foot spray. You spray it on the ground, and when we come down, we want to make sure that we get any kind of divot more on the side of the line, going closer to the target. Okay, so where I brushed the grass there, it was out in front. When I get set up here, if I'm back in this position, watch what happens. I fall back, the club hits back here, low point, and then you end up sculling the ball. Okay, the same thing can happen with a chunk shot also. That you get back here, you try to help it, or all the weight stays back here, and the chest is back in this position here. So we really want to focus on when we get set up, getting those hands, feeling those hands ahead, that hip is clearing, and we turn through the strike. Now, a good drill and good exercise for that is, again, we're going to use the line here. Okay, we're set up. So right now, all I want to do is I'm going to take my setup position. I'm going to preset my impact position. I'm going to get here, I'm going to get the forward shaft lean, and I really want you to lean on the club shaft in this position here. Okay, really feel like you're getting that lean. The left, or your lead hip is rotated now, so that butt cheek is kind of turned behind you. The hands are now more over my lead foot here, and the weight is coming off my back foot. Okay, get that into that position there. Good. Do it again. Good. And then come back and work on getting through to that position. And the strike there, the little bit of a brushing of the grass there, is out in front of that line as opposed to being in behind the line. Okay, so you can do that exercise, pre-shot it, preset it, turn, really feel it, really lean on that shaft to exaggerate that forward shaft lean. So if you have problems getting, and distance also, because if you're getting into this position here, I get the question, well, why do I hit my irons all the same length? Well, a lot of it has to do with this here. You're just adding loft when you're coming through and you're kind of falling back on it. So I like breaking the swing down into segments a little bit also. So another really good drill is when we set up here, we're going to take the club back to your halfway position here. From here, I just want you to get the feel like you've turned the toe of the club down a little bit here. From here, all I want you to do is to turn and rotate, getting into that impact position where you've got that forward shaft lean, that hip, that left hip has rotated, has turned and cleared, that butt cheek is back behind you, and the hands are over your front foot. Back to here. And that one may take you a few shots to kind of get the feel of it, because you're not used to starting from in this position right here. Okay, so we get set up again. Get that club, turn the toe down, and we turn through the shot. All shots in golf, what we want to be doing is we want to making sure that we're turning through and getting to that good balanced finish position here. Okay, we want you swinging, you're going to generate club head speed and hit the ball far if you get good center face contact and good speed. But we don't want to be swinging so fast that we're losing our balance or we're falling back on things. So we get set up here again. And we turn our body through, chest, facing the target. If anything, if you rotate it, your chest maybe I'm a right-handed golfer, it's going to be a little bit left of the target. Good turn, good balance, finish position into here. Okay, so an exercise that's good for your turn is when you set up, is you don't even need a club for this. You can get the feeling when you come back that you're just going to rotate. See how that left kind of hip goes behind me into this position here. From there, all we do is we're coming down and we're turning through here. There, we get a good shoulder tilt there. Coming here, we turn through. Once you've done enough of these, then you can work on turning your body through into this position here. So that's a few tips on iron play. To become a good iron player, you must have that forward shaft lean. Okay, again, that's going to deal off the club face. A lot of people think address and impact are the same. They are not. There's your address position. Because you're shifting your weight and you're rotating your body, notice how my hands are probably going to be about 4 to 5 inches ahead of where they started, as opposed to being here and trying to scoop it and help the ball up in the air. Getting into here, getting that good forward shaft lean there. So I hope these tips have been helpful with regard to your driver and on your iron play. And yeah.
Jim, are you able to summarize any key points that you can think of off the top of your head?
Yes.
I mean, you don't have to go through the whole thing, but...
Yeah. As far as, like some people, they'll talk about, well, you swing the same with your driver as you do with your irons. Well, as we've seen here today, you don't. The driver is more of a kind of level or ascending as we're swinging through. Some people do hit down on it. Predominantly, faders of the golf ball will hit down on the driver. The biggest thing is you need to start in a proper position and finish in a proper position. If we're in a position where my arms are really away from my body, now I can't get the club back very well, and I'm not going to be able to turn my body through as well either. So being the proper distance away from the ball, and that little tip that I showed you with regard to just letting the hands and arms hang into this position here, that's a good drill also. Also, working on the hands and arms have to blend together with the rotation and turning of your body. So the other good drills we talked about is to take the club across your shoulders like this here. When we come into this position, turn it back into here. Okay. Now, some of us don't have that flexibility much anymore, or we may be barrel-chested, a little bit bigger. One of the tips that I use in that situation is imagine your lead shoulders on a wall, and all you want to do is you want to move slightly away from the wall here. If you move slightly away from the wall, that now gets the weight more into your trail side. Okay, and one of the other things, Isaac, is making sure that when we're coming through, we want to feel like we get our hands and arms are extending. The upper part of your arms are close to your body. Again, I talk a lot about the frisbee with your lead arm and throwing a ball sidearm and underhanded. If you're a person that comes outside in, okay, just take a golf ball and do this. If you come outside in, you're going to throw it like that. Okay? We want to, when you're making proper golf motion, when you're coming through, you want to throw it out there, and rotate it and turn your hips there. I didn't quite rotate my lead hip there, so I threw it a little bit out to the right and more to the left there. So those things right there are good exercises and some good drills. Another good drill from the back right here is if I took a head cover here. I'm going to grab my buddy Drake here.
His name is Drake?
His name is Drake. He had a chocolate lab for 13 years.
Nice.
So you can do this at home. I would recommend doing it with a shorter club. When you get set up here, you have a wall back here. When you swing back, a lot of times people will take the club too inside like this here. And when they do that, they're going to hit the wall. Okay? And then the tendency is when you start your downswing, you're either going to do this or you're going to do that. Okay? Take the club, take it back into here. Don't touch the wall, and from there, the club has got to go up so it doesn't touch the wall. Now at this point, it's going to be fairly close to the wall. Okay? From this point, you want to lay the club head on the wall, and to start down, you want to feel like that club head or the head cover staying on the wall as you're turning your body through. Okay? And I really focus, Isaac, on that left butt cheek. That is so important to get that left or lead butt cheek, the right butt cheek for the lefties. Getting here, putting weight into your front foot to start the downswing. As that's happening, the hands and arms are falling, working out here into this position here. Okay? If you get that feel, your hips are going to rotate through. Again, weight into the front foot to start it, then turning into that position there.
And Jim, lastly, how do you recommend people to incorporate these drills? Do they do them every day? Do they do them a few times a week? Does it hurt to do it too much?
Again, it depends on the individual. You'd like to, get to a driving range. We're very fortunate here at Heartland Point Forces Golf Club that we've got a great driving range and great practice facilities. But here's where you want to incorporate what we discussed today on the driving range. We talked about a lot of faults and fixes that I do see in my teaching. You may take 1-2 things max and incorporate some of these swing thoughts and ideas. But as far as the drills, you want to do this. You want to get the feels, develop the feels, so that you can take them out onto the golf course. And it can take quite a while to get the feel. I'm always reminded of Davis Love, when Davis Love won the 1997 PGA Championship. He talked about a footwork move that it took him 2 years to get comfortable with. There's, at that time, one of the best players in the world, and it took him 2 years to get comfortable with. So stick with it, be patient, and one of the things that I would strongly recommend is go out and visit your local PGA golf professional in the area. There's some great teachers across the country. Go out and get some lessons. A lot of times people will spend $1,200, $2,000 on a set of golf clubs, but yet they don't go out and take lessons to improve. And go out and get fitted for your irons and get fitted for your drivers. We have companies coming here and do fittings for our members. So that would be, I'd strongly recommend that.
All right, well, thank you for all that great information today. Any closing words?
No, just my pleasure, and hopefully everybody's getting an opportunity to play, and hopefully we get a little extended fall here due to the late start. But yeah, if you any questions, anything along those lines, I'd be certainly happy to answer any questions.
All right, thanks, Jim. Have fun.
Thank you.